It is Dallas Cowboys Executive Vice President Stephen Jones. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
We're doing good. I imagine you're doing good as well. I got to know, what were the emotions and thoughts when the Maher kick was in the air? When did you know it was good? And how much better do you feel today as opposed to last Monday?
Well, obviously, it was a clutch kick, and I will admit it looked like it was. It took me a while to make sure it was good until I saw the official's hands, because it was even from the end zone views, you could see it was kind of starting to head a little right there at the end. But
didn't it feel like they took forever to say it was good?
Felt like it took forever. But anyway, it's certainly it was a very, very big win for us after a very difficult week, a week in which, not only did we, play a game that was disappointing in terms of how we played, but certainly the injury to your franchise quarterback, but things started to get better right away after the surgery, as the prognosis went from about 8 weeks to 4 weeks. And certainly to get a win against, a Super Bowl caliber team in the Bengals, it was just a big win there in front of our home crowd. They played a big role in it. I thought the atmosphere was great, but a big win for our team.
Well, and since you just brought that up, you said in the pregame show yesterday on the station that you're not counting him out Dak out against the Giants. Is that correct?
Oh, against the Giants this week? Absolutely, he's out. I think where I got misconstrued there is it's 3 to 4 weeks from the time of injury.
Okay, so
the best, I think the very best it would be Washington or the Rams.
Okay, and how are you feeling about that today? Because I know we did see him, gripping the football and everything too this week.
Yeah, we just won't know until we get closer, to really give an educated guess. Right now it's still, I will say this, so far everything's gone his way. From the surgery to the swelling after the surgery was very minimal compared to what it can be. And, we're just optimistic about it. And, that along with the win, it's a big win for us. And certainly to feel the optimism about that coming back sooner and later is a great deal too, although certainly Cooper played a really nice game for us yesterday and feel like, he can, do some good things with his team.
Did you feel like your offense yesterday was much different from what the typical plan of attack is for them? Was it more creative? What did you feel about the offense, especially early in the game?
I just think it was execution, getting in a rhythm, and making those third and shorts. That's a big key. Obviously, we made a fourth and mid-range that was really big, and give Coach McCarthy a ton of credit. Those calls go against you, then you're certainly on the other end of the spectrum. But if you can convert on third down, then you get your offense gets in a rhythm, and certainly you see that not only with our team but most teams. I mean, the Bengals, when they weren't converting, it was 3 and outs and it was quick, and it's hard to get in a rhythm for the quarterback, for the whole offense if you don't make a couple first downs in a drive. And that was to me at the end of the day, we're getting ready to have our meetings today, but I'm sure that's going to be a big key to why our offense, had some success yesterday. Certainly we want to get better on both sides, on all three phases, but that was a nice step yesterday.
Now, I know there's a lot of great defensive players across the league as you go with, Watt, Donald, and the like, but is it crazy to already think that Micah not only is in the conversation, but just might be the best defensive player in the NFL?
Well, I think his performances are speaking for themselves right now. He doesn't. I don't think anyone needs to give him or especially internally, need to add on the pressure there. But he's just doing an outstanding job, and certainly, he's one of those players in our league that when they break the huddle, they certainly are looking to see where number 11 is. And I think we've got a great complement of guys that go with him. D-Law had a big day yesterday. Certainly Dorrance Armstrong and Fowler had big days. I thought Diggs made some big plays when we needed it. And, that's one of the best receivers in the league in Chase. He's one of the best in the business, and thought we did a good job. We knew going into the game that was going to be one of the boxes we need to check, is at least hold him somewhat in check. You don't ever just totally stop guys like that. And then I thought we did a nice job in the running game, too, against Mixon, who's a very talented back and certainly been productive for the Bengals.
I realize it's only one game, but I'm kind of curious, like, you and the organization's general philosophy in terms of, like, you mentioned Dorrance Armstrong, you mentioned Dante Fowler. Quite frankly, a lot of people kind of made fun of the organization when y'all talked about those players as, like, being people who could help replace the loss of Randy Gregory. Do you look back at a game like yesterday and you're like, you know what? I told you so.
Well, you throw Sam Mills in that mix. Sam Williams in that mix. And I hope Sam Williams is as good as Sam Mills. But throw Sam Williams in that mix, making a big play for a, tackle for a loss on their end of the field. We just, that was the philosophy that we took when we decided to pass on Randy's last demands. And certainly, it's well documented what we think of Randy, but we also think we ended up with, 3 or 4 good football players instead of one.
The play of Tony Pollard yesterday was pretty, like, everybody's like, that's why Tony Pollard right there. That's why we want to see. Do you want to see more Tony Pollard now? That's a huge run for him.
Yeah, obviously he shows his juice, his acceleration, what makes him unique. In addition to, he's just a very instinctive running back. But certainly he brings that element to the game. I think they're, a great compliment, Zeke and Tony, to one another. I know they're great teammates for each other. They root each other on, and I think that's going to make them put together as one. I think it's going to really give the other team something to have to look at. When they line up against us, we committed to run the ball. I think we ended up, running it about half the time and throwing it half the time, and that's a good mix.
There's a lot of positives coming out of the game, and obviously we're all inherently more excited when the team wins. I was kind of curious, though. Can you give us any updates or tell us why Jabril Cox and Jalen Tolbert haven't been able to get on the field or even be active?
Well, they actually both were dealing with some injury, especially Jabril coming off major knee surgery. He was really ahead of the game. We thought he might even be coming into training camp might be a PUP candidate. And so he's had to battle through some of that. And, I fully expect him, as we move forward to just keep getting better. And then Tolbert battled a hamstring. And I know he had a great week of practice last week, and it was discussed whether he should move on up. It was close on the decision there, but to expect both those guys will be contributors to this football team sooner than later.
And just to make sure, I want to make sure I get this right, is so you think it's injuries as opposed to like lack of progress on the field that have kept them from being out there thus far?
I think the injuries held them back in terms of their progress at being able to be ready for the start of the season. Tolbert had a hamstring, and and I will say this: we asked a lot of Tolbert in camp, to learn all 3 positions with the, and probably set him back a little bit in the short term, but moved him forward in the long term. I think it's something he'll benefit from, knowing all 3 spots as we move forward. But then had the hamstring injury, and with his focus on the receiver spot, didn't play as much on special teams in the preseason as well. So he's certainly diving into the special teams part of this as well. And then certainly Jabril was more of it's just held him back some. He had, we had to hold him out, I think, the second preseason game or the first. But he was, somebody, as I said, that was a candidate coming off that big knee injury, that he might be a pup guy, but he's coming along fine, and I think he will be a contributor.
Stephen Jones joined us here on the KNC Masterpiece on 105 through the Fan. Your offensive line going into week 1 was obviously the talk. That was the conversation. How is Tyler Smith going to do? And then Connor McGovern goes down. What did you think of your left side of the offensive line this week?
I think they did a nice job. Obviously, I think Tyler's settling in there good. Certainly when you get that good mix of run and pass, it helps him out. And I thought he did a real nice job, and I thought Farniok took it to another level and did a nice job as well. So I thought Cooper had time to throw. One of Cooper's strong points, though, is to get the ball out timely. And he's always been good at that because he has such a good understanding of our offense and what we need to do and where to go with the ball. So that's a big benefit as well. And starting to feel good, especially as we know both Peters and Connor McGovern are going to be getting well sooner than later. So it should just help with our depth in the offensive line.
And then in terms of receiver, is this more what you'd hope for or envision for on CeeDee Lamb? The media's been tough on him. Obviously, you mentioned him last week. Is this kind of what you would hope for, at least in week 2?
Absolutely. I mean, he's just you get him going early is important. Get him a few balls, get him in rhythm, and then I think we're going to continue to see that CeeDee Lamb can be a really solid number one receiver in this league, and certainly be a great one for that matter. But and then Noah had a big game yesterday. Certainly, Gallup now has a chance to start working back in. Certainly possible for him to get to be up against the Giants this week. So this core, I think, is going to come together. And as I mentioned earlier, I think Tolbert's going to really start working into the mix, and kind of is the vision that we ultimately had for this receiving core, with certainly Semi and Houston being a part of that mix as well. So I think it's a good group that's only going to get better as people get healthier, and look forward to seeing how it comes together.
It's almost like he knew I was about to ask about Michael
You're going to ask about Gallup, and he was like, I got this covered for you, Kevin. Nice job. Hey, real quick, Steven, last week I asked Jerry if he had a suggestion box or hotline, and he was like, I'll take phone calls. How entertaining do you think that would be if Jerry was taking phone calls from fans?
Well, I think it'd be great. He would handle it just fine. And, whether it's a week like last week or a week like this week, he's seen it all. And I think it'd be entertaining, to answer your question, but I think he'd do a nice job with it.
Well, we don't want to leave anybody out on this show. Would you also like to volunteer for the fan phone call segment that we're trying to set up here?
Certainly. Sign me up. If he'll go, I'll go.
Oh, my gosh.
I got work to do then. All right. I see how it is.
Now, don't think we'll just let this go. We can be very persistent.
We are persistent.
So, all right. Excellent. And are there any other, I know we'll see how the week goes, especially since you have an extra day, but are there any other injury updates or anything that you can share with us coming out of the game, specifically, whether it's Schultz, Parsons, or anything of that ilk from yesterday's game?
No, it's a little early in the day just yet to be given a prognosis there. But overall, feel pretty good about it. As you mentioned, Schultz is the one that would be a question mark. But we'll see how everything comes back and how he feels today, moving around, and get a better feel for what we're looking at, for the Giants.
All right. Appreciate the time, as always. Love talking with you every Monday, and maybe even talking with the fans every Monday to go along with this. We'll see how that goes. Thank you very much, Steven.
Hey, appreciate you guys. Thanks.